There is a ridge between Claiborne and Hancock counties, Tennessee, that does not appear on any current Department of Defense installation map. A 1938 Army Corps survey references a subsurface access point at that location by a designation no current agency will confirm or deny. And there is a retired civil engineer named Thomas Greer who spent 11 years trying to find out what was built there. In 2009, he stopped asking. He has not said why. Tennessee has 42,144 square miles. The federal government acknowledges military presence on less than 4% of it. 9 sites have never been formally acknowledged at all. Some were decommissioned without public record. Some were never commissioned in any record that has been released. Some are still drawing power from the grid. We are counting down. It gets much darker. Number 9. In 1955, the Army activated Nike Ajax missile battery, Site TN-36 on 34 acres in eastern Shelby County. In September 1974, it was decommissioned. The closure notice stated the site had been returned to prior condition and released from federal inventory. 4 sentences, signed by a contracting officer, not a base commander. Here is what nobody tells you. The land was never transferred out of federal inventory. A GSA property disposal search in 2011 by Memphis journalist Carol Henshaw found no transfer document for the TN-36 parcel. The GSA responded that the parcel could not be located in active or completed disposal records. 37 years after the Army said it released the land, no agency can produce paperwork showing where it went. A former Army Corps technician named Dale Pruitt assessed TN-36 after closure in 1974. The above-ground structures had been demolished. The subsurface access hatch had not been sealed. It had been resecured with a new federal lock, issued after the supposed closure. Pruitt noted the discrepancy. His supervisor crossed it out. The lock in Pruitt's photograph was manufactured no earlier than 1973. The site was abandoned in 1974. The lock was new. Picture yourself on that parcel on a January morning. Frost on the grass. A concrete pad covers the subsurface access point, a pad not in the original construction plans. The Army said it left in 1974. The lock said otherwise. Nobody has answered for the difference. That is only number 9. It gets much darker. Number 8. In 1962, the Atomic Energy Commission built a subsurface hydrological monitoring station on the eastern bank of the Clinch River, 3 miles from the K-25 plant. Listed in AEC inventories through 1977. In 1977, it vanished from those inventories. Not decommissioned, not transferred, removed. The structure remained. Access was formally revoked by the DOE in a March 1989 internal memorandum, partially declassified in 2016. 7 of its 11 pages remain withheld. Here is what nobody tells you. The 4 released pages contain 1 reference to monitoring data from 1977 to 1988, the 11 years the station officially did not exist. 1 sentence. Results of subsurface monitoring for the period 1977 through 1988 are contained in Annex C. Annex C is withheld. 11 years of data from a non-existent facility, collected, compiled, classified. The DOE told a University of Tennessee law clinic in 2018 that Annex C remained withheld on national security grounds. National security exemptions for groundwater monitoring on a river in Anderson County. A DOE compliance officer named Patricia Sewell twice requested access to the station for routine inspection from 1991 to 2003. Both requests were denied by a division above her clearance level. Her exit interview reads, "I was told the site was not under my jurisdiction. I asked whose jurisdiction it was. I was told that information was not available to me." She left in 2003. She has not spoken publicly since. Picture yourself on the eastern bank of the Clinch River on an October afternoon. The water is low and slow. Somewhere beneath you, 11 years of monitoring data sit in a withheld annex no officer has been allowed to read. The river does not know what it is carrying. The government does. They have decided that is enough. That is only number 8. It gets much worse. Number 7. In 1961, the NSA built a signals intelligence relay network across the southeastern interior under program designation Parasol. 14 installations, 11 acknowledged. One of the 3 unacknowledged sits beneath a ridgeline in Putnam County, 7 miles northeast of Cookeville. It appears in one record, a 1963 Army Corps underground construction permit filed with the Tennessee State Building Commission, withdrawn 4 days after filing. The withdrawal cites federal preemption. It does not cite a program name. Here is what nobody tells you. A retired NSA technician named Robert Caswell gave an oral history interview in 2004, referencing a 3rd Tennessee Parasol installation by Grid Coordinate. The transcripts were published online in 2007. In 2009, Caswell's transcript was removed. The project director said the removal was requested by a federal agency she was not permitted to name. Caswell died in 2012. The transcript has not been restored. A State Building Commission archivist named Margaret Hollis flagged the withdrawn permit in 2015. She had never seen a federal preemption notice on a withdrawn state permit in 30 years of archival work. Her supervisor said it had been referred to the Attorney General. She requested the outcome in 2016. She was told the matter remained open. She retired in 2017. It is still open. Picture yourself on that Putnam County ridgeline on a gray November morning. Second growth timber on ground that was cleared once and grew back. The soil is harder than it should be. A technician remembered this installation in 2004. Someone decided that memory did not belong in a public archive. The ridge has kept the rest. That is only number 7. It gets much darker. Number 6. The Arnold Engineering Development Center in Coffee County has operated since 1951. The Air Force has never acknowledged a 2.3-mile subsurface rail corridor constructed beneath its eastern perimeter between 1957 and 1959. It appears in one record, a 1958 TVA power load assessment referencing a subsurface mechanical transport system at Arnold, requiring dedicated 3-phase electrical service. The Air Force has never confirmed what that system was or whether it is still operational. Here is what nobody tells you. A Nashville firm called Caldwell Marsh Associates held the ventilation subcontract. Their 1987 business dissolution records include a line item: Subsurface Forced Air Exchange System, AEDC East Perimeter Tunnel, 2.3 miles, completed November 1959. Those records were public through 2001. In 2002, they were reclassified pursuant to a federal protective order whose number appears in the archive index, but whose text is unavailable. No Tennessee or federal court shows a protective order with that number on file. A TVA engineer named Howard Birch worked the Arnold Power account from 1961 to 1973. In a handwritten note found after his death in 1998, he wrote that the eastern grid load ran at levels inconsistent with the documented testing equipment. His supervisor told him it was classified, routed as overhead without annotation. Birch wrote, "I did what I was told. I wrote this down because someone should know I knew." Picture yourself at Arnold's eastern perimeter fence on a February afternoon. Test cells visible to the west. The ground slopes slightly beneath you. A 2.3-mile corridor built in 1959 has drawn power every year since. The Air Force has never said what moves through it. You know now. That is only number 6. It gets much worse. Number 5. Fort Campbell's above-ground footprint is extensively documented. What is not documented is a subsurface facility designated Installation 7 Foxtrot, built beneath the Tennessee sector between 1968 and 1971. It appears in one document, a 1972 Army Inspector General audit, partially declassified in 2003. The section on 7 Foxtrot is 3 paragraphs. 2 are redacted in full. Construction cost, $4,300,000. No line item breakdown has ever been released. Here is what nobody tells you. On March 14, 1973, a civilian contractor named Eugene Harwell entered Installation 7 Foxtrot with a maintenance crew. He did not come back out. The official incident report, filed March 16th, classifies his death as a fall in an unlit subsurface corridor. His widow told a Clarksville reporter in 1981 that the Army never said what he fell into, how long he lay there, or who found him. 2 men in civilian clothes came to her door on March 15th, one day before the report was filed, and asked her to sign a non-disclosure agreement. She did not sign. They came back twice. She moved away in 1974. Eugene Harwell is buried in Clarksville. His employer at the time of his death is not on his headstone. The facility he entered that morning has never been named in any document his family was allowed to read. Picture yourself at the Tennessee sector perimeter on a March morning. Chain link fence, posted signs, unremarkable by design. $4 million of 1972 construction sits beneath your feet. A man named Eugene Harwell went underground on a Tuesday and did not walk back out. His family was visited before his death was officially reported. The ground keeps the explanation. That is only number 5. It gets much darker. Number 4. Norris Dam was the TVA's first project, completed in 1936. None of the TVA's published construction history mentions a subsurface complex built in bedrock beneath the eastern abutment between 1934 and 1936, under a contract that does not appear in any released procurement record. It appears in one place, a 1936 letter from TVA, Director Arthur Morgan, to President Roosevelt at the Roosevelt Presidential Library. The letter references the eastern abutment installation as proceeding on schedule. The subject line is redacted. The TVA has told researchers it has no record of the letter. Here is what nobody tells you. TVA historian Dr. James Coulter found the Morgan Roosevelt letter cited in a footnote of a 1941 Army Corps report. He traveled to Hyde Park. He photographed it. He cited it in his draft manuscript for a 2008 TVA commissioned history. The TVA returned the manuscript with the citation removed. Margin note: unverified source. Remove per editorial standard. Coulter objected. The TVA said the letter's provenance could not be confirmed through its own records. The published history appeared in 2009 without it. Coulter has not published on TVA history since. Picture yourself on the walkway above Norris Dam on a cold April morning. 265 feet of dam face below you. In 1934, a crew under an unrecorded contract built something in that bedrock. A letter to a president mentioned it. A historian found that letter and was told to remove it. The dam holds the water back. It holds the rest back too. That is only number 4. It gets much worse. Number 3. The Eisenhower administration built a classified network of continuity of government shelters across the Southeast. Most have been acknowledged. The installation beneath Holston Mountain in Sullivan County has not. It does not appear in the FCDA's 1994 declassified facility list. It does not appear in the Brookings Institution's 2001 COG facility survey. It appears in one document, a 1958 Sullivan County property deed transferring 6.2 acres to a federal entity designated only as Agency 14. The deed has sat in the county registrar's office since 1958. No researcher appears to have requested it until 2014. Here is what nobody tells you. The researcher was a retired NSA analyst named Carol Brandt, who spent her career on COG facility logistics from 1974 to 2001. She did not recognize Agency 14. She filed a mandatory declassification review request in September 2014. The archives confirmed the designation existed, but said identification required coordination with the originating agency, which they did not name. No further response was ever issued. Brandt died in 2019. Her request remains open, pending originating agency response. The originating agency has not responded in 10 years. The parcel is still federally owned. No agency claims it in any public inventory. A woman who spent her career working these exact facilities could not identify the one in her own region. She died without an answer. Picture yourself on the southern face of Holston Mountain on a November afternoon. The ground is too flat in one long section, compacted in a pattern that does not match the slope. 6.2 acres belong to an agency with a number instead of a name. The analyst who knew these facilities better than almost anyone alive looked at the deed and did not know what built here. That is the detail that does not resolve. That is only number 3. It gets much darker. Number 2. The Oak Ridge Reservation is one of the most documented federal installations in American history. What has not been documented is a subsurface tunnel extension constructed eastward from the reservation boundary into Roane County, beginning in 1951. It appears in one record, a 1952 blasting permit, filed by a contractor identified as Federal Construction Group 7, an entity that does not appear in any federal procurement database. The permit describes a corridor at 80 to 120 feet depth. Destination coordinates 2.1 miles outside the Oak Ridge boundary. The work was completed. No certificate of completion was ever filed. Here is what nobody tells you. A Roane County farmer named Harold Stiles noticed subsidence cracking in 2 fields beginning in 1952, following a straight northwest to southeast line for approximately 900 feet along the permit's corridor route. He reported it. An inspector attributed it to natural geological settling. Harold Stiles watched those cracks for 40 years. They did not change. His son David requested the 1953 inspector's report in 2007. The county said records were lost in a 1971 courthouse fire. David checked. The fire damaged the annex. The inspector's records were filed in the main building. The main building did not burn. Picture yourself in that field on a gray March morning. The cracking is still visible if you know to look. Subtle, grass-covered, but the line holds. The Oak Ridge boundary is 2.1 miles northwest. Something was built between here and there in 1952. It was built to go somewhere. No one has said where. That is number 2. Number 1 is different. Number 1. There is no name for this installation in any document that has been released. It sits in the Ridge Country between Claiborne and Hancock counties. A 1938 Army Corps survey filed under Series T, N-Interior-38 references a subsurface access structure at a specific grid coordinate in that Ridge Country. The survey designates it as an existing installation, not proposed, existing, in 1938. The relevant sheet, Sheet 14, Claiborne-Hancock Interior, is listed in the National Archives Finding Aid. When Thomas Greer requested it in 2003, the archivist said it was available. When the box was retrieved, Sheet 14 was not inside. The archive's internal loss report confirms the sheet was present during a 1991 inventory audit. It has not been located since. Here is what nobody tells you. Greer spent 11 years filing requests to the Army Corps, the DoD, the Army Center of Military History, the NSA. Every agency said it had no responsive records, except the NSA. The NSA issued a GLOMAR response, neither confirming nor denying, for a 1938 survey sheet of a ridge in Claiborne County, Tennessee. Greer appealed in 2008, denied. In 2009, he wrote a final letter stating he had exhausted every legal avenue. He received no response. He has not filed a request since. He has not spoken about the installation. Greer spent 3 days in Claiborne and Hancock counties in 2005. 3 of the 14 people he spoke with ended the conversation when they understood his question. One farmer told him there was a road cut into the eastern ridge face that went back a 1/4 mile and ended at a concrete wall. The wall had been there as long as anyone could remember. His father told him not to go near it. His grandfather told his father the same. He did not know where that instruction had started. He said it had simply always been true. Picture yourself on that ridge face on a gray November afternoon. The road cut is overgrown at the edges, but clear at the center. Clear the way a path stays clear when something uses it. At the end of the road, a concrete wall. No markings. The concrete repointed in sections. The drainage maintained. Someone has been coming back. The wall is older than anyone can account for in Ridge Country no agency will claim, where the instruction not to go near it has passed from grandfather to father to son without anyone knowing where it began. Some of these installations were built for wars that were coming, some for wars that never came. Some were built for something that had no name in any war. The federal government acknowledges what it decides to acknowledge, and some things it simply places behind a concrete wall at the end of a road, in a county, between counties, and waits. The wall has been waiting longer than the government that built it has existed, and it is still being maintained.